When you stop reacting, you stop giving others control over you because you choose to lead your emotions instead of letting them lead you. Calm minds make better choices. Reactive minds only create regret because thoughtful action builds the future while rash action breaks it. People often react without thinking when they feel upset, judged or ignored. They speak quickly, act harshly or shut down, only to regret their words later. This reaction steals peace, hurts relationships and leaves them feeling powerless. What people should do is pause, breathe and choose their response with clarity. Not reacting is not weakness, it is strength. It is about noticing what is happening inside you and refusing to let emotions control you. When you do this, you keep your mind steady and protect your energy. You stop letting others dictate how you feel and start living with self-respect. Today we will explore how to stay calm, choose wisely and build control over your emotions. If you're ready to take back your power, then let's dive in. Chapter 1. Choose silence when anger tries to control you. Have you ever felt your heart race because of something small that set you off? Maybe someone cut you off in traffic or spoke to you in a way that felt unfair. In those moments, anger rises like a wave and it demands a reaction. Your hands shake, your voice gets louder, and your mind starts to fire off words that you might regret later. I want to remind you today that this is the moment where your future self will thank you for choosing silence. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is strength. Silence is control. And silence is the doorway to a better outcome. Most people think reacting fast shows power, but real power is the ability to pause when anger tries to own you. When you pause instead of reacting, you take back control over yourself. Anger is loud, but silence is steady. Think about the last time you reacted in the heat of the moment. How did you feel after? Most of the time you feel regret, shame, or frustration. You replay the words you said and wish you had done it differently. But when you hold your tongue and breathe, you give yourself space to think. You give yourself space to let the storm pass. You give yourself a chance to respond in a way that makes you proud later. That pause is what separates a life of chaos from a life of calm. Choosing silence is not about ignoring problems. It is about building the strength to face problems with a clear head. Anger clouds your judgment. It makes you say yes when you should say no. It makes you quit when you should keep going. It makes you blame others when you should take responsibility. When you stay quiet, even for just a few seconds, you protect yourself from decisions that could take months or even years to fix. That silence is like holding the steering wheel steady when the car slides on ice. It keeps you safe until the road is clear again. There is something powerful about learning to notice the first signs of anger. You can feel it in your body. Your chest feels tight. Your breathing changes. Your face warms up. Your thoughts speed up. Most people let these signs push them into action, but you can train yourself to see these signs as signals. A signal to stop. A signal to hold back. A signal to wait. The moment you notice those signals, you can remind yourself, I am stronger than my reaction. You can remind yourself that nothing good comes from exploding in anger. That reminder will become your guard. Silence also changes the way others see you. People respect someone who can stay calm when others lose control. Think about the leaders you admire. Do they shout every time something goes wrong? Or do they remain steady even under pressure? Silence creates authority because it shows discipline, and discipline is rare. If you can control yourself when anger is tempting you, you prove that you are capable of more than most. You show that you are in charge of your emotions instead of being ruled by them. People begin to trust your presence because they know you will not add more chaos when problems already exist. There will be times when people push your limits on purpose. They may want to see how much it takes to break you. They may want to bring you down to their level. In those times, silence is your shield. When you do not give them the reaction they want, they lose power over you. They cannot control you if you do not hand them your emotions. You keep your dignity intact, and they are left with their own frustration. And here is the truth. Most battles are won by the one who keeps calm the longest. Anger runs out of energy fast, but patience always outlasts it. Let me share something important. Silence gives you time to choose words that build instead of words that destroy. Anger pushes you to insult, accuse, or attack. But silence lets you pick words that calm, explain, or direct. Words spoken in silence carry more weight because they are measured and intentional. You can turn a conflict into a solution just by giving yourself the time to select the right words. And when you do speak, people listen because your words are not scattered. They are sharp and clear. I want you to imagine a moment where someone is shouting at you. Their words are cutting. Their tone is sharp. The room is tense. Your body tells you to fight back. But instead you stay quiet. You breathe. You wait. Soon their energy drops because they are fighting alone. Then, when the noise is gone, you speak with calm authority. You say only what needs to be said. That moment becomes a victory because you refuse to let anger write your story. You let silence shape the outcome. And that outcome is far more powerful than any loud reaction you could have given. This practice is not easy. Your mind will try to convince you that silence means you are weak or that you are losing. But remind yourself that silence is the highest form of self-respect. It shows that you do not let anyone pull you out of character. It shows that you value your peace more than you value proving a point. That peace becomes your advantage. Every time you choose silence, you grow stronger inside. You feel lighter because you do not carry the weight of unnecessary arguments or harsh words. And that strength compounds with each decision. Now I want you to think of the people closest to you, the ones you love. How many times has anger hurt them more than it helped? How many times has a quick reaction created distance instead of connection? Choosing silence protects your relationships. It keeps love alive by giving you time to choose kindness over cruelty. It keeps friendships strong because you avoid words that can never be taken back. It keeps respect alive in the workplace because you handle stress with grace. Silence is not only for you. Silence is for everyone around you who feels the impact of your emotions. Every time you feel anger rising, remind yourself that silence is a choice. It is not something that happens on its own. You decide it. And every decision shapes the person you are becoming. Do you want to be someone who loses control or someone who holds power over themselves? That answer is written in how you handle the next moment of anger. If you choose silence, you choose strength. If you choose silence, you choose peace. And if you choose silence, you choose a future that is not destroyed by a single moment of weakness. Silence is not about never speaking up. It is about knowing when to hold back so you can speak with purpose later. It is about knowing that timing matters as much as truth. You may have something important to say, but if you say it in anger, it will not be heard. If you say it after silence, it will land with clarity. People remember words spoken with calm far more than words screamed in rage. That is why the strongest voices are the ones that know when to stay silent and when to speak with intention. And let me leave you with this image. Every time you choose silence when anger comes, you plant a seed of wisdom inside you. That seed grows into patience. That seed grows into respect. That seed grows into influence. And one day you will look back and realize that your silence in heated moments was the reason you built a life of stability, trust, and peace. That is the power of silence when anger tries to control you. Chapter 2. Breathe deep before reacting and regain your calm. There are moments when life feels like it is pushing every button you have. Someone cuts in line, someone speaks harshly to you, or a sudden problem appears out of nowhere. Your heart beats faster, your body tightens, and your thoughts run wild. In that instant, it feels impossible to stay in control. That is the moment when you must remember the simplest and most powerful tool you have. You must breathe. A deep breath is not just air moving in and out. It is a reset button for your body and mind. It is the one act that can stop anger from turning into a mistake. When you choose to breathe before reacting, you allow yourself to regain calm that anger tries to steal. When you feel the first signs of anger, your breath changes. It becomes short and shallow. Your body gets ready to fight. If you do not stop it, your breath feeds your anger like fuel to a fire. But if you take one deep breath, you interrupt that process. You bring oxygen to your brain and you slow down the rush of emotions. You may not notice it right away, but your shoulders relax, your chest opens, and your heartbeat starts to steady. That one deep breath gives you space to decide instead of just react. And that space is the difference between regret and respect. Breathing deeply is not only about controlling anger. It is about training your body to support your mind. Your body always reacts first when emotions hit. But your breath is the bridge between body and mind. A deep breath tells your body that you are safe, even if your thoughts are racing. That message calms your nervous system, and once your body calms down, your thoughts become clearer. When you practice this, you build a habit. And soon, every time stress or anger rises, your first instinct will be to breathe deep and wait. Think about how many conflicts could be avoided if people simply took one deep breath before speaking. Imagine the arguments that would never start. Picture the relationships that would not be broken. A single breath can stop 100 mistakes. The breath is not a delay or an excuse to avoid action. The breath is preparation. It prepares you to speak with control. It prepares you to act with intention. It prepares you to lead instead of follow your emotions. That is why leaders who master their breath always seem calm, even in chaos. You may be wondering why something so simple can be so powerful. The reason is that breathing is the only system in your body that you can control both automatically and consciously. Your heart beats without your permission. Your digestion happens on its own. But your breathing can be taken over by choice. When you choose to control it, you take back control over your entire emotional state. It is like holding the reins of a wild horse. Once you control your breath, the rest of your body follows. And once your body is under control, your emotions begin to obey. Let us get practical. The next time you feel anger, pause and breathe in slowly through your nose. Count to 4 as you fill your lungs. Hold it for a brief moment. Then breathe out slowly through your mouth. Count to 4 again. Repeat it 2 or 3 times. You will feel the tension begin to fade. Your face will soften. Your mind will slow down. You will feel ready to choose your words carefully instead of spitting them out in a rush. That simple act of breathing can transform the entire outcome of the situation. Breathing deep also helps you notice your emotions instead of being trapped inside them. When you focus on your breath, you become an observer. You step back and see that your anger is just a feeling, not your identity. You realize you can let it pass without acting on it. This distance between you and your emotions gives you freedom. You no longer feel like a slave to anger. You feel like a master of your state, and that mastery becomes a foundation for strength in every part of your life. You can even practice this when things are calm, so that you are ready when pressure comes. Sit quietly and take a few slow breaths. Notice how it feels when your body relaxes. Notice how your thoughts become lighter. The more you practice, the faster you will be able to find that calm when life tests you. It is like building a muscle. The more you train, the stronger you get. Soon it will not matter how loud the world gets. You will always know how to return to calm with one deep breath. Think about the people around you when you stay calm instead of reacting. Your calm becomes a gift. It prevents arguments from growing. It prevents others from feeding on your anger. Your calm becomes a steady presence in the room. Others feel safer around you because they know you will not explode. They begin to see you as someone who brings solutions instead of problems. And that is how breathing deep before reacting builds respect, not only for yourself but also from others. Breathing also clears the fog that anger creates in your mind. Anger makes it hard to think clearly. It pushes you into fight or flight. But oxygen clears the fog. It helps your brain make better decisions. It helps you remember what matters most. It helps you see the bigger picture. You cannot solve a problem well if your brain is starved of oxygen, but you can solve almost anything if you give your brain the fuel it needs. That fuel is a deep and steady breath. Let me give you an example you can relate to. Picture a time when you were about to argue with someone you care about. The words were ready to come out. You felt heat rising in your face. If you had spoken then, you might have damaged the relationship. But imagine if you had stopped and taken 3 deep breaths. By the time you exhaled, the urge to shout would have weakened. Your tone would have softened. Your words would have changed. And instead of adding pain, you would have opened the door to understanding. That is the difference breathing makes. Breathing deep also helps you reset after anger has already started. Sometimes you may not catch it in time. You may already be speaking too fast or too harsh. That does not mean it is too late. You can still stop, inhale deeply and exhale slowly. Even if you are in the middle of conflict, this action can shift the energy right away. People notice when your tone changes. They notice when your body language softens. And they often follow your lead because calm is contagious. Remember that control is not about never feeling anger. Control is about choosing how to deal with it. Everyone feels anger. It is part of being human, but not everyone knows how to handle it. Breathing deep is the easiest and most natural way to handle it. It requires no tools, no training, no special conditions. You can do it anywhere, anytime. Whether you are at work, at home, or in traffic, your breath is always with you. It is your most reliable resource for calm. The next time you feel a surge of anger, ask yourself one simple question. Do I want this moment to define me, or do I want my calm to define me? Then take a breath. That breath will remind you who you are. That breath will remind you that you are stronger than your emotions. That breath will remind you that peace is always possible if you choose it. And each time you make that choice, you grow stronger, wiser, and calmer. Your breath is more than survival. Your breath is your anchor. It grounds you when life tries to shake you. It steadies you when people try to pull you into conflict. It empowers you to stay true to yourself. And it gives you the ability to respond in a way that builds instead of destroys. When you master your breath, you master your calm. And when you master your calm, you master your life. Chapter 3. Train your mind to pause before every response. Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment that you wished you could take back? We all know that feeling. The words leave your mouth too quickly and almost immediately you regret them. You think, if only I had waited before I answered. This is why training your mind to pause is one of the most important habits you can ever develop. Life is full of situations where people test your patience, challenge your views, or trigger your emotions. Without a pause, you respond on impulse. With a pause, you respond with wisdom. The pause is small, but it changes everything. The truth is, most of our regrets come not from silence, but from the words we spoke without thinking. A pause before speaking protects you from yourself. It gives you time to reflect on the outcome you want. Do you want peace or do you want conflict? Do you want respect or do you want regret? The pause lets you answer those questions in your own mind before your words go out into the world. It may only take 2 or 3 seconds, but those seconds can save you from years of damage. When you pause, you slow down a reaction that wants to rush forward. Emotions are fast. They hit you before you even notice, but your mind can catch up if you give it a moment. That pause allows you to see the bigger picture. You can ask yourself, what is really going on here? Is this worth fighting about? Is this the best way to respond? With practice, this habit becomes natural. Soon, you will not even need to remind yourself. Your mind will pause automatically before any response. This habit also makes you more powerful in conversation. People often try to pull you into arguments or trick you into saying something you will regret. But when you pause, you do not give them control. You hold the power because you decide when and how to respond. Silence between question and answer often makes others respect you more. They see that you are not careless with your words. They see that you choose your thoughts carefully, and in that moment you become someone they listen to more closely. The pause also gives your emotions time to cool down. Anger, frustration, or sadness can cloud your judgment. But no emotion lasts forever. If you give it just a little time, it begins to soften. By pausing, you let that softening happen before you react. That means your response is calmer and more balanced. It is no longer controlled by the rush of emotion. It is controlled by your values and your goals. That makes your words stronger and more meaningful. You can practice this pause in small daily situations. When someone interrupts you, wait a moment before answering. When someone criticizes you, pause before defending yourself. When someone pushes your limits, stop and take a breath before reacting. At first, it may feel unnatural. You will want to answer right away. But if you keep practicing, your brain will learn. It will start to insert that pause every time you feel pressure. That training is what makes you stronger over time. The pause also teaches patience. We live in a world where everything feels urgent. People want quick answers and instant reactions. But wisdom does not rush. Wisdom waits. Wisdom looks deeper. By pausing, you remind yourself that not everything needs an immediate answer. Some things deserve thought. Some things deserve silence. And some things do not deserve a response at all. You cannot learn that unless you pause before speaking. Another benefit of the pause is clarity. When you respond too quickly, you often say things that are not clear or not complete. Your words spill out without direction. But when you wait, even for a few seconds, your mind organizes your thoughts. You begin to see what matters most in your response. You cut out the extra noise. You choose words that carry weight and meaning. That clarity makes your communication more effective. People understand you better. They trust what you say because it is measured and precise. Let me give you an example. Imagine you receive an angry email from a colleague. Your first reaction is to fire back a sharp reply. But instead you stop. You pause. You read it again. You take a walk or drink some water. Then after a few minutes, you write your response. Now your words are calmer. You explain your point without attacking. You maintain respect even if they did not. That pause not only protects your reputation, it also protects the relationship. And relationships are too valuable to be destroyed by one careless reaction. The pause is also a tool for self-respect. When you pause before answering, you show yourself that your words are valuable. You do not waste them. You do not throw them away in anger. You treat your voice like it matters. And the truth is, it does matter. Every word you say creates an image of who you are. When people hear you, they are forming a picture of your character. Do you want that picture to be of someone who reacts without thinking? Or do you want it to be of someone who speaks with purpose? The pause decides that for you. Over time, pausing before every response builds discipline. Discipline is the ability to control yourself even when emotions are high. Most people let emotions control them. They live like slaves to their feelings. But discipline gives you freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom to respond wisely. Freedom to protect your future from the mistakes of the present. And the pause is the daily training that builds that discipline. Sometimes the hardest part of pausing is the silence. People are uncomfortable with silence. They want to fill it with words right away. But if you can learn to be comfortable in that silence, you gain power. Silence gives you space to think. Silence makes others listen more. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of strength. Train yourself to hold it with confidence. Soon you will see that the person who controls the silence controls the conversation. This practice of pausing is not just for conflict. It works in every area of life. In business, it helps you make smarter decisions. In family life, it helps you avoid hurting the people you love. In friendships, it helps you build deeper trust. In leadership, it makes people respect you. The pause before response is a universal skill. It serves you no matter where you are or who you are with. That is why it is worth practicing every single day. The pause also allows you to listen better. When you stop yourself from speaking too soon, you give others space to express themselves fully. You hear not only their words but their feelings. You understand them more deeply, and that understanding makes your response even stronger. People feel valued when you listen. They feel respected when you wait, and they will return that respect by listening to you in return. Every time you pause, you are shaping the person you are becoming. You are training your mind to live above impulse. You are teaching yourself to choose wisdom over reaction. You are building a reputation as someone who thinks before they speak. That reputation will open doors for you. People will trust you with responsibility. They will seek your advice. They will want to follow your lead. All of this comes from the simple habit of pausing before every response. It may sound simple, but it is not easy. It requires practice. It requires patience. It requires self-control. But once you master it, you will never go back, because you will see how much stronger you feel when you are in control of your words. You will feel lighter because you are not carrying regrets. You will feel confident because you know your responses build instead of destroy. The pause becomes not just a habit, but a way of life. Train your mind today. The next time someone asks you a question, wait before you answer. The next time someone challenges you, pause before you reply. The next time you feel anger, stop and breathe before you speak. Every pause is a victory. Every pause is proof that you are in control. Every pause is a step toward becoming the person you want to be. And if you keep practicing, one day you will realize that the pause has become your greatest strength. Chapter 4. Learn to see situations without taking them personally. One of the greatest struggles many people face is how easily they take things to heart. You might hear a comment, see an expression, or receive criticism, and suddenly it feels like a personal attack. The truth is, most of what people say and do has very little to do with you. It has more to do with them, their mood, their past, or the stress they carry. When you take everything personally, you live in constant hurt. You feel offended, insulted, and defensive. But when you learn to see situations as they are, without attaching them to your worth, you discover freedom. That freedom is peace of mind, and it allows you to move forward without unnecessary pain. Taking things personally is exhausting. Imagine walking through your day and collecting every negative word and every careless action like a heavy bag on your back. You carry it home into your relationships and into your sleep. By morning, the bag is heavier and you carry it again. This is why many people feel drained by life. They are not only dealing with reality but also with imagined insults. When you decide to stop making everything about you, you put that bag down. You no longer carry the weight of other people's words or actions. You walk lighter, you think clearer, and you live stronger. When someone criticizes you, your natural reaction may be to defend yourself. But before you do, ask yourself an important question. Is this about me or is this about them? Maybe the person is frustrated with their own life. Maybe they had a bad day. Maybe they do not know how to express themselves with kindness. If you take their words personally, you give them the power to ruin your peace. But if you see it as their struggle, not yours, you take back control. You understand that their reaction belongs to them. You do not have to wear it as your identity. Learning not to take things personally also changes the way you deal with rejection. Rejection hurts, but only if you attach it to your value. If someone says no to you, it often means the timing was not right, or their needs are different, or they are carrying fears you cannot see. It does not mean you are unworthy. It does not mean you are less capable. When you see rejection as a situation instead of a reflection, you protect your confidence. You keep moving, you keep learning, and you keep trying. Rejection becomes guidance instead of punishment. It is also important to remember that everyone sees life through their own lens. That lens is shaped by their upbringing, their pain, and their choices. When they speak to you, they speak through that lens. This means their opinion is not a mirror of your truth. If someone says you are not good enough, that is their lens, not your reality. If someone dismisses your effort, that is their perspective, not your identity. The sooner you realize this, the sooner you stop living under the shadow of others' opinions. You begin to stand tall in your own truth. This shift requires awareness. You must notice when your body reacts to someone's words. You may feel your chest tighten, your face heat up, or your mind start to race. That is the signal that you are taking it personally. In that moment, pause and remind yourself, this is not about me. This is about them. That simple reminder creates distance between their actions and your emotions. And in that distance you find clarity. You are no longer trapped inside their judgment. You are free to choose your response. Not taking things personally does not mean you ignore feedback. It means you separate useful feedback from unnecessary negativity. If someone points out a mistake, you can learn from it without feeling attacked. If someone offers advice, you can take what helps and leave the rest. You listen, but you do not let their tone or delivery break your spirit. You take what serves your growth and release what belongs to them. That is how you grow without carrying poison into your heart. When you practice this skill, your relationships improve. Arguments shrink because you are not reacting to every small comment. Misunderstandings fade because you are no longer assuming hidden meaning behind people's words. You begin to give others the benefit of the doubt. You start to ask questions instead of reacting. You ask, what did you mean by that? Or can you explain further? This opens the door to clarity instead of conflict. You begin to connect on a deeper level because you are no longer clouded by personal offense. Another powerful effect of not taking things personally is that you stop living for approval. Many people spend their lives trying to please everyone. They bend, they break, and they hide their true selves because they fear judgment. But when you stop taking things personally, you stop needing approval to feel valuable. You understand that your worth is not in someone else's opinion. It is in the way you choose to live, the way you treat others, and the way you keep growing. This independence makes you stronger, more confident, and more authentic. Think about how much peace you lose when you assume people are against you. A friend forgets to call and you assume they do not care. A colleague looks serious and you assume they are angry at you. A stranger frowns and you assume it is because of something you did. But in reality, most of the time, it has nothing to do with you. Your friend may be busy. Your colleague may be stressed. The stranger may have their own troubles. When you stop making everything about you, you stop creating stories that hurt you. You start living in truth instead of assumption. This practice also helps you protect your energy. Energy is limited each day. If you waste it on taking offense, you will have little left for your goals, your dreams, or your loved ones. Every moment you spend feeling insulted is a moment you could spend building your future. Every hour you waste on anger is an hour you could invest in growth. When you stop taking things personally, you keep your energy where it belongs. You keep it focused on what matters most to you. One of the hardest areas to practice this is with people close to you. When someone you love says something careless, it cuts deeper. But even then you can remind yourself that their words may come from their stress, their fears, or their own struggles. It is not always a reflection of their love for you. By not taking it personally, you give them room to be human. You protect the bond by choosing understanding over offense. And often when the emotion passes, they realize their mistake and you avoid unnecessary damage. Over time, learning to see situations without taking them personally builds resilience. Life will never stop testing you. People will always have opinions. Some will be kind, some will be harsh, and some will be careless. You cannot control their behavior, but you can control how you interpret it. By choosing not to take it personally, you build a shield around your peace. That shield is not built from anger or defense. It is built from wisdom and clarity. And with it, you move through life with more strength and less pain. You can begin practicing today. The next time someone criticizes you, pause and ask, is this really about me or is this about them? The next time someone rejects you, remind yourself that it does not define your worth. The next time someone offends you, breathe and let it pass. Each time you practice, you grow stronger. Each time you practice, you take back power from the world around you. Each time you practice, you step closer to a life of calm and freedom. When you stop taking things personally, you gain perspective. You see people as humans with their own struggles. You see situations as moments to learn instead of battles to fight. You see yourself as separate from the noise of others' emotions. This perspective gives you peace in chaos, confidence in rejection, and strength in conflict. And that peace, confidence, and strength become the foundation for a life that no one can shake. Chapter 5. Build strength by walking away from pointless arguments. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of an argument that you knew was going nowhere? Maybe it started over something small, but suddenly voices rose, tempers flared, and both sides were digging deeper into their positions. You felt drained, upset, and frustrated. After it was over, you wondered why you even bothered. This is what pointless arguments do. They take your time, your peace, and your energy, and in the end, nothing is solved. The truth is, walking away from these arguments is not weakness. It is strength. It shows that you value your peace more than proving a point. It shows that you understand the difference between battles that matter and noise that is better left behind. Pointless arguments often begin when someone tries to push your buttons. They want a reaction. They may not care about truth or solutions. They just want to win or prove themselves right. If you let yourself get pulled in, you step into their trap. You waste your energy trying to convince someone who has no interest in listening. You raise your voice, your heart pounds, and your emotions take control. At the end, you feel empty and regretful. But if you walk away, you rise above it. You keep your dignity, your calm, and your focus. That is what real strength looks like. There is a difference between discussions that solve problems and arguments that lead nowhere. Discussions involve listening, understanding, and compromise. Arguments are about ego, control, and pride. When you see this difference, you start to choose wisely where to put your energy. You begin to ask yourself, will this lead to peace or just to more conflict? If the answer is conflict, the best decision is to walk away. Walking away does not mean you are running from the truth. It means you are saving your energy for what really matters. Think about how much time is wasted on small disputes. People argue about opinions, preferences, or minor details that have no impact on their future. They fight about things they will forget in a week. But in those moments they lose hours of peace, days of connection, and sometimes even years of relationships. If you want to build a strong life, you cannot let small arguments control you. You must learn to rise above them. You must learn to walk away with your head held high, knowing you chose peace over pride. Walking away also protects your relationships. Many friendships, partnerships, and families are damaged not by big problems, but by small arguments that were allowed to grow. Harsh words are spoken, respect is lost, and walls are built. If someone had chosen to walk away instead of fighting, the relationship could have been saved. It takes maturity to walk away. It takes patience to let go of the need to win. But that patience protects the bond between people. It allows love and respect to survive when anger tries to destroy it. This does not mean you should never stand up for yourself. It means you must choose your battles wisely. Some issues are worth discussing because they affect your values, your goals, or your future. But many issues are not worth a single argument. The key is knowing the difference. If the issue will not matter in 5 days, 5 weeks, or 5 years, it may not be worth your energy today. Learning to ask that question before you react is one of the most powerful habits you can build. Walking away also builds self-respect. Every time you step away from a pointless argument, you prove to yourself that you are in control. You show yourself that you do not need to prove your worth to anyone. You show yourself that your time and peace are more valuable than winning an argument. That respect grows inside you. It becomes confidence. It becomes strength. It becomes the quiet knowledge that you are not ruled by ego or anger. You are ruled by wisdom and choice. Many people confuse walking away with giving up, but there is a big difference. Giving up means you quit on something important. Walking away means you rise above something meaningless. When you give up, you lose. When you walk away, you win because you keep your peace. You keep your focus on what matters. You keep your energy directed toward growth instead of conflict. That is not defeat. That is victory. You can practice this in daily life. The next time someone tries to start an argument over something small, pause. Ask yourself if it is worth it. If it is not, choose silence and walk away. If you are online and see a debate that pulls you in, stop and ask if it will change anything. If not, close the screen and move on. Each time you make that choice, you build a habit. Each time you walk away, you train your mind to value peace more than pride. Over time, it becomes natural. You no longer feel the need to fight every battle. You only choose the ones that truly matter. This habit also makes you more respected by others. People notice when you do not get dragged into pointless conflicts. They see that you do not waste time on noise. They see that you stay calm when others lose control, and they begin to admire you for it. They see you as someone who carries wisdom and balance. They trust your presence because they know you will not create unnecessary conflict. That respect is a reward for your discipline. Walking away from pointless arguments also saves you from regret. How many times have you said something in anger during a meaningless fight and wished you could take it back? Words spoken in anger can last forever. They can damage trust and break bonds. But if you walk away, those words are never spoken. The damage never happens. You go to bed at peace instead of with guilt. That is a gift you give yourself and the people you care about. It is also important to remember that not every opinion deserves your response. People will always have something to say. They will judge, criticize, or provoke. If you respond to every opinion, you give away your power. But if you choose silence, you keep your power within. You show that you do not need to fight every voice. You show that you decide what deserves your energy. That choice separates the strong from the weak. The strong know that not every comment requires a reaction. Sometimes the best way to teach others is by refusing to argue. When you walk away, you send a message that you are not interested in wasting time. You show that you prefer solutions over conflict. You show that you care more about peace than about winning. And often people who argue will reflect on their own behavior when they see you refuse to engage. They realize the argument has no power without your participation. In that way, walking away not only protects you but also teaches others a lesson in maturity. Life is too short to waste on meaningless conflict. Every minute spent in a pointless argument is a minute lost forever. You could use that minute to build your future. You could use it to love your family. You could use it to grow, to learn, or to create. Walking away gives you back your time. It gives you back your energy. It gives you back your focus. And those are the things you need to live a strong and meaningful life. So every time you face a situation where someone tries to pull you into a pointless argument, remind yourself of the power you hold. You can fight and lose your peace, or you can walk away and keep your strength. The choice is yours. And each time you choose to walk away, you are building the discipline, the respect, and the freedom that will carry you through life with calm and confidence. Chapter 6. Use patience as your greatest tool in tough moments. There are times in life when everything feels heavy. You face delays you did not plan for, people test your limits, or progress seems slower than you hoped. In those moments, frustration rises and the urge to force things becomes strong. You want answers now. You want results now. You want problems to disappear right away. But life does not always move at your pace. That is where patience becomes your greatest tool. Patience is not sitting back and doing nothing. Patience is the strength to remain calm while life unfolds. Patience is the ability to keep moving forward without breaking under the weight of time and pressure. When you lose patience, you make poor choices. You rush into decisions that you later regret. You speak too soon and create problems that could have been avoided. You give up just before the reward arrives. Impatience is costly, but patience is powerful. Patience gives you the ability to think clearly when others panic. It gives you the ability to wait for the right moment instead of forcing the wrong one. It gives you the strength to hold on until your efforts finally pay off. That strength is what separates those who achieve lasting success from those who quit too soon. Patience is especially important when dealing with people. Everyone has flaws and everyone makes mistakes. When you lose patience with others, you damage relationships. You say words that cannot be taken back. You create distance where connection should be. But when you practice patience, you give people room to grow. You allow them to explain themselves. You give them time to improve. That patience builds trust and respect. People feel safe around you because they know you will not snap at every mistake. They know you have the strength to handle challenges with calm instead of anger. You will also notice how patience changes the way you deal with setbacks. Life will always bring problems. Some will be small, some will be large, and some will test you to the core. If you lose patience, you magnify the pain. You start to panic and the problem grows bigger in your mind. But if you stay patient, you stay steady. You remind yourself that every problem has a solution. You take one step at a time. You breathe, you wait, and you keep moving. Soon, what felt impossible becomes manageable because patience gave you the space to work through it. Patience is not weakness. Patience is discipline. It is the ability to resist the temptation of quick reactions. It is the ability to say, I will wait for the right time instead of chasing the wrong time. It is the ability to keep showing up even when results are slow. Most people give up because they cannot wait. They plant a seed and expect fruit the next day. But those who practice patience understand that growth takes time. They keep watering, they keep tending, and they trust the process. In the end, they are the ones who enjoy the reward. Think about how patience impacts your health. Stress is often the result of impatience. You rush, you worry, you get angry at delays. Your body pays the price. Your heart races, your muscles tighten, and your mind feels restless. But patience brings peace. When you tell yourself, it is okay to wait, your body relaxes. Your breathing slows. Your mind clears. You feel lighter. That peace allows you to make better choices. It allows you to face challenges without breaking down. Patience is not only good for your success, it is good for your health and your well-being. You can practice patience in small moments each day. When you are stuck in traffic, instead of getting angry, breathe and remind yourself that frustration will not move the cars faster. When you're waiting in line, instead of complaining, use the time to think or reflect. When a task takes longer than expected, remind yourself that rushing will only lead to mistakes. Each small practice builds the muscle of patience. And when big challenges come, you will already be prepared to face them with calm. Patience also gives you perspective. When you wait, you see things more clearly. What felt urgent may not be urgent after all. What seemed like a problem may not even matter in the bigger picture. Impatience blinds you, but patience opens your eyes. It helps you see options you would have missed. It helps you recognize opportunities that impatience would have destroyed. Many of the best decisions in life come from waiting long enough to see clearly before taking action. There will be moments when people test your limits on purpose. They may try to provoke you. They may want to see how far they can push you. If you react quickly, they win. They gain control of your emotions. But if you stay patient, you win. You show that no one else decides your state of mind. You show that your calm cannot be stolen. That kind of strength earns deep respect because it is rare. Most people lose their patience easily, but those who do not stand out as leaders Patience also keeps you from chasing short-term comfort at the cost of long-term success. When challenges feel hard, the impatient choice is to quit. The patient choice is to endure and continue. Patience allows you to sit with discomfort and still move forward. It reminds you that every difficulty has an end. If you keep going with patience, you will get there. Without it, you stop too soon and miss the reward waiting for you. Many dreams are lost, not because people lacked skill, but because they lacked patience. Sometimes patience means holding back words until the right time. You may feel the urge to respond right away in anger, but if you wait, you often find better words. Words that heal instead of hurt. Words that solve instead of divide. A moment of patience before speaking can save hours of conflict later. This is why patience is not only a tool for progress, but also a tool for peace in relationships. It protects you and the people around you from unnecessary pain. Patience is also vital in personal growth. Change does not happen overnight. Habits take time to build. Skills take time to develop. Character takes time to shape. If you demand instant results, you will give up when progress is slow. But if you remain patient, you allow yourself the time to grow at a natural pace. You celebrate small steps instead of rushing to the finish. And over time, those small steps add up to transformation. Patience makes growth possible because it gives you room to continue even when progress feels invisible. You will notice that patience brings strength in the workplace as well. Projects take longer than expected. People miss deadlines. Plans do not always go smoothly. If you lose patience, you create tension and stress. But if you stay patient, you create solutions. You encourage others instead of tearing them down. You keep the team focused on the goal instead of the delay. That calm leadership makes you valuable because it shows that you can handle pressure without breaking. People will look to you as the steady hand when times get tough. The truth is, patience is a choice. It is not something that just happens. You decide to wait. You decide to stay calm. You decide not to let time or stress control you. Each time you make that choice, you grow stronger. Each time you make that choice, you take back control over your emotions. Each time you make that choice, you remind yourself that you are not ruled by frustration but by wisdom. That choice shapes your future because it keeps you steady when others fall apart. When life tests you, patience is the tool that keeps you standing. It does not remove the challenge, but it gives you the strength to endure it. It does not erase the delay, but it helps you wait without breaking. It does not silence your frustration, but it keeps frustration from controlling your actions. In tough moments, patience is your greatest ally. It protects your peace, it strengthens your character, and it guides you to the outcomes you truly want. Chapter 7. Focus on solutions instead of feeding emotional reactions. There are moments when emotions feel louder than reason. Someone criticizes you, a problem shows up without warning, or plans fall apart. Your first instinct is often to react with frustration, anger, or blame. It feels natural because the emotions rush in fast and your mind wants to release them. But here is the problem. Feeding emotional reactions does not fix anything. It may release tension for a moment, but it leaves you with the same problem and sometimes even more damage. The real progress begins when you shift from reaction to resolution. That shift happens the moment you decide to focus on solutions instead of fueling emotions. When you react emotionally, you lose control of the situation. Your words come out without thought. Your tone grows harsh. Your actions follow impulse instead of clarity. Later, when the emotion fades, you see the mistakes you made. You see the people you hurt, or the time you wasted. But when you pause and turn your attention to solutions, you take back control. You stop feeding the fire of emotions and start building a path forward. You remind yourself that what matters most is not the feeling in the moment, but the outcome you want to create. Focusing on solutions is not about ignoring emotions. It is about guiding them. Emotions are signals. They tell you that something needs attention. Anger may tell you a boundary has been crossed. Frustration may tell you progress is slow. Fear may tell you the risk feels high. The mistake is letting those emotions drive your decisions without thought. Instead, you must take the signal, acknowledge it, and then ask yourself, what can I do about it? That question shifts you from reaction to action, and that action is where solutions are born. Think about a time when something went wrong at work or at home. Maybe someone forgot their responsibility or a plan failed. If you reacted emotionally, the situation probably became worse. People got defensive. Tempers rose. The energy in the room turned negative. But if you shifted quickly to solutions, the energy changed. Instead of blaming, you asked, how do we fix this? Instead of shouting, you said, what steps can we take now? That focus created progress instead of conflict. The same situation became an opportunity instead of a disaster, simply because you chose solutions over reactions. One of the most powerful questions you can ask in tough moments is, what is within my control right now? Emotional reactions often focus on what cannot be changed. You blame the past. You complain about others. You replay the problem in your mind. None of that changes the situation. But when you ask, what is within my control, you redirect your energy. You find steps you can take. You find choices you can make. You begin to move forward. That focus makes you stronger because it turns helplessness into empowerment. Another key to focusing on solutions is remembering the bigger picture. In the heat of emotion, your mind shrinks the world down to one moment. You forget your long-term goals. You forget your values. You forget your future. All you see is the problem in front of you. But if you pause and remind yourself of the bigger picture, your reaction changes. You realize that the argument, the mistake, or the delay is only one small piece of your journey. You realize that your goal is progress, not victory in a pointless fight. With that clarity, you can let go of the emotional urge and put your energy into building the next step. You also need to practice language that focuses on solutions. When emotions rise, the words you choose matter. If you say, this is impossible, your mind shuts down. If you say, this always happens to me, you fuel negativity. But if you say, there must be a way, your mind opens. If you say, let us try this, you invite progress. Words are powerful tools. They can trap you in emotional reactions or guide you toward creative solutions. Training yourself to use positive and forward-looking words in tough moments builds the habit of focusing on outcomes instead of obstacles. It is also important to notice how emotions spread. When one person reacts emotionally, others often join in. A single complaint becomes a chain of complaints. One outburst creates a room full of anger. But when one person focuses on solutions, the energy shifts the other way. People calm down. They start to think. They start to act. You can be that person. You can be the one who breaks the cycle of emotional reactions and turns it into a cycle of problem solving. That influence is one of the greatest powers you can have in a group. There will be times when emotions feel overwhelming. You may feel like shouting, crying, or giving up. In those moments, remind yourself that emotions are temporary, but solutions last. Feeding your emotions may feel good for a few minutes, but it leaves you empty. Building solutions may feel harder at first, but it leaves you stronger. Every time you choose solutions over reactions, you build resilience. You build trust in yourself. You build the habit of creating progress even in the middle of chaos. Let us look at a practical example. Imagine you missed an important opportunity. The emotional reaction might be to blame yourself, complain about circumstances, or grow angry at others. But none of that brings the opportunity back. A solution-focused approach would ask, what can I learn from this? How can I prepare better next time? Who can I reach out to now? This shift does not erase the mistake, but it turns it into fuel for growth. Instead of staying stuck in regret, you move forward with new wisdom. Focusing on solutions also saves relationships. When conflict arises, emotions often take control. Couples argue, friends fight, colleagues clash. If both sides feed emotional reactions, the bond weakens. Harsh words are spoken. Distance grows. But if even one person shifts to solutions, the cycle breaks. Instead of saying you never listen, you say, how can we communicate better? Instead of saying you are always wrong, you say, what can we do differently next time? That shift changes the tone. It opens the door to healing instead of division. Remember that solutions do not always mean immediate fixes. Sometimes the solution is patience. Sometimes it is planning. Sometimes it is asking for help. The key is that you are directing your energy toward progress, not toward feeding the fire of emotions. Even small steps count. A small action in the right direction is always better than a loud reaction in the wrong direction. Over time, those small actions lead to big changes. They create progress that emotional reactions could never achieve. Focusing on solutions also makes you a leader in your own life. Leaders are not people who never feel emotions. Leaders are people who know how to manage them. They know how to acknowledge the emotion, calm themselves, and move forward with clarity. You do not have to lead a company or a team to practice this. You are already the leader of your own choices. And when you choose solutions, you lead yourself to a stronger future. You also set an example for those around you, showing them what true strength looks like in tough moments. You can start practicing today. The next time you feel frustration rise, stop and ask, what can I do about this? The next time someone angers you, pause and ask, how do I want this to end? The next time life feels unfair, ask, what step can I take right now? These simple questions redirect your mind. They take you out of the emotional trap and place you in the space of progress. With practice, this becomes natural. Soon, your first instinct will no longer be reaction. It will be resolution. Life will always bring challenges. You cannot avoid problems, but you can decide how to face them. You can waste your time feeding emotions that drain you, or you can invest your time building solutions that lift you. The choice is always in your hands. And each time you choose solutions, you are shaping a stronger, calmer, and more resilient version of yourself. Chapter 8. Replace instant anger with thoughtful words of power. We all know the moment when anger strikes without warning. Someone says something that feels unfair. Someone treats you with disrespect. Someone challenges your patience. Before you even think, your voice rises, your words come sharp, and your emotions spill out. In that moment, anger feels powerful, but the truth is, instant anger weakens you. It steals your control, it clouds your mind, and it damages your relationships. Real power does not come from shouting. Real power comes from thoughtful words spoken with purpose. The strongest person in the room is not the one who reacts first, but the one who responds with calm and clarity. Instant anger often leads to regret. Think about the times when you let words fly in the heat of the moment. Maybe you shouted, insulted, or accused. At first you felt justified, but later you replayed the conversation in your mind and wished you had handled it differently. The damage was already done. The words could not be taken back. Thoughtful words, on the other hand, create a different result. They calm the situation, they invite respect, and they leave you with pride instead of regret. That is the difference between reacting with anger and responding with power. When you choose thoughtful words, you are not ignoring your anger. You are transforming it. Anger is energy, and you can decide how to use it. You can waste it on yelling, or you can channel it into words that solve the problem. For example, instead of saying you never listen, you can say, I need to feel heard right now. Instead of saying you are wrong, you can say, let me share my perspective. Both sentences come from the same feeling, but the second approach builds instead of destroys. That shift requires practice, but it gives you strength that instant anger never can. Thoughtful words carry weight because they are measured. People listen when your tone is calm. They take your message seriously when your words are chosen carefully. Instant anger may get attention, but it rarely gets respect. In fact, it often makes others defensive and they stop listening altogether. When you speak with thought, even your critics have to pause. They may not agree with you, but they cannot dismiss the strength in your delivery. That is the power of calm language. It turns conflict into conversation. The key to replacing instant anger is creating space before you speak. That space can be as simple as taking one deep breath. It can be pausing for a few seconds. It can be counting in your head before answering. That small pause interrupts the rush of anger and gives your mind a chance to catch up. In that space, you can ask yourself, what do I want to achieve here? Do I want to escalate the conflict, or do I want to move toward resolution? The answer to that question will guide you to choose words that serve your goal instead of words that feed your anger. Let us imagine a simple example. You are in a meeting and someone criticizes your work unfairly. Instant anger tells you to fire back with a sharp defense. But thoughtful words remind you that your reputation matters more than winning the moment. Instead of snapping, you say, "Thank you for sharing that. Can you explain what you mean so I can understand better?" That response does two things. It protects your dignity, and it shifts the focus to clarity instead of conflict. In that moment, you show maturity, and you often disarm the critic because they expected a fight, not calm strength. Replacing instant anger also strengthens your relationships. When you respond with thoughtful words, you avoid hurting the people you care about. Anger pushes people away, but thoughtful language draws them closer. Imagine a loved one makes a mistake that frustrates you. Instant anger might lead you to say something harsh that creates distance. Thoughtful words, however, might sound like, "I felt hurt when this happened, and I want us to work through it." The second choice opens the door to connection instead of building a wall of resentment. That is the power of thoughtful speech in moments of tension. Another benefit of choosing thoughtful words is that it keeps your credibility intact. People judge you by how you handle stress. If you explode in anger, they may fear you, but they will not trust you. If you stay calm and express yourself clearly, they will respect you. They will see you as someone who can be trusted with responsibility because you can handle pressure without losing control. Over time, that credibility opens doors that anger would have closed. It earns you influence because people follow those who lead with calm. It is important to remember that thoughtful words are not soft words. They do not mean you avoid the truth. They mean you deliver the truth in a way that others can hear. You can still set boundaries. You can still express disagreement. You can still demand respect. But you do it without losing control. You say, "I will not accept being spoken to that way," instead of shouting insults. You say, "I disagree with this decision, and here is why," instead of exploding in frustration. Thoughtful words carry firmness, but they also carry dignity. That balance makes them powerful. You can practice replacing instant anger in small ways each day. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of shouting, remind yourself that reacting will not change it. When a coworker interrupts you, instead of snapping, choose words like, "Let me finish my thought first." When a family member forgets something important, instead of attacking, you can say, "This matters to me, and I need us to pay attention next time." Each practice builds your ability to stay calm and choose power over impulse. Over time, it becomes second nature. One of the best ways to prepare for these moments is to build a vocabulary of calm responses. When emotions run high, your mind may struggle to find the right words. But if you already have phrases ready, you can use them without hesitation. Phrases like, "Help me understand," or "Let us work on a solution," or "I see it differently, but I respect your view." These phrases guide the conversation toward progress instead of conflict. They are tools you can rely on when instant anger tries to take over. It is also helpful to reflect after moments of anger. If you do react instantly, ask yourself later, what could I have said differently? How could I have turned that moment into one of strength instead of regret? Reflection trains your mind to prepare better for the next time. It turns mistakes into lessons. And the more you practice, the less power instant anger will have over you. Soon you will notice that situations that once triggered you no longer control you. You will find yourself choosing thoughtful words without even thinking about it. Thoughtful words also change the energy in the room. When everyone is tense, your calm voice can bring the temperature down. When others expect conflict, your measured response can surprise them and shift the direction. People feel safer around someone who can remain steady in tough moments. They know that even when things get heated, you will not add fuel to the fire. You will bring balance, and that presence is deeply valued in any group. At the heart of it, replacing instant anger with thoughtful words is about respecting yourself. Anger may feel strong, but it often leaves you feeling ashamed. Thoughtful words may take more effort, but they leave you with pride. They leave you knowing that you handled yourself with discipline and strength. They remind you that you are in control of your voice, your tone, and your impact. That self-respect grows every time you choose words of power over words of rage. You will also notice how much lighter life feels when you practice this. Instant anger creates tension that lingers. It poisons your mood for hours. It damages connections and creates regret. But thoughtful words release that tension. They solve problems faster. They protect relationships. They leave you free to focus on what matters instead of replaying a fight in your head. That freedom is one of the greatest rewards of choosing power over impulse. In the end, the real strength is not in the volume of your voice, but in the wisdom of your words. Anyone can shout in anger. It takes discipline to pause, think, and speak with intention. It takes courage to replace harshness with clarity. It takes maturity to trade reaction for resolution. Each time you do, you show the world that you are stronger than your anger. You show the world that your words are tools of power, not weapons of destruction. And that choice will shape the quality of your life, your relationships, and your future. Chapter 9. Protect your peace by refusing to match bad energy. Every day you will meet people who carry frustration, anger, or bitterness with them. They may cut you off in traffic, speak to you with disrespect, or bring negativity into a conversation. In those moments, you feel the pull to react. You feel the urge to raise your voice, defend your pride, or fight back with the same energy they give you. But here is the truth. Matching bad energy never helps you. It drains you, it distracts you, and it pulls you into battles that steal your peace. Protecting your peace means making a decision not to sink to the level of others. It means choosing calm when chaos surrounds you. It means refusing to let someone else's mood dictate your state of mind. When you match bad energy, you hand over your power. You let someone else control how you feel and how you act. They push a button and you react on command. That is not strength. That is surrender. Real strength is keeping control of yourself even when others lose control of themselves. It is standing steady when others try to shake you. It is holding on to your calm because you know peace is more valuable than winning an argument. Every time you refuse to match negativity, you prove to yourself that you are the one in charge of your emotions. Negativity is contagious, but so is peace. If someone comes at you with anger and you return anger, the tension grows. But if someone comes at you with anger and you stay calm, the tension begins to dissolve. People expect you to match their energy, so when you refuse, you break the pattern. You set the tone instead of following theirs. That is how you protect yourself and sometimes even influence others to calm down. Your calm becomes a shield, and it keeps you safe from the storm they are trying to bring into your life. Think about how many conflicts in your past could have been avoided if you had not matched bad energy. Maybe someone insulted you, and instead of walking away, you insulted back. Maybe someone complained, and instead of redirecting, you complained with them. Hours were wasted, emotions were hurt, and nothing was solved. But imagine if you had responded differently. Imagine if you had said nothing or responded with kindness or simply removed yourself from the situation. You would have saved your energy and your peace. That choice is always available to you. Protecting your peace also means knowing what deserves your attention. Not every comment deserves a reply. Not every action deserves a reaction. Some people are not looking for solutions. They are looking for a fight. They want to pull you into their negativity. If you join them, you lose. But if you refuse, they have no power over you. Silence, distance, or calm words are often the strongest responses you can give. They show that you will not waste your energy where it does not belong. It is important to understand that protecting your peace does not mean ignoring problems. It means dealing with them in a way that does not destroy your state of mind. You can address issues with firmness without raising your voice. You can set boundaries without matching disrespect. You can stand up for yourself without losing yourself. Protecting your peace is about responding with intention, not reaction. It is about remembering that your inner calm is more valuable than proving someone wrong. You will notice how much lighter life feels when you practice this. When you stop matching bad energy, you stop carrying the weight of unnecessary conflict. You no longer replay arguments in your mind. You no longer feel drained from constant battles. Instead, you feel steady and focused. You have more energy for your goals, your relationships, and your growth. That is the reward of protecting your peace. You trade momentary satisfaction for long-term stability. One way to protect your peace is to practice self-awareness. When someone brings negativity to you, notice how your body reacts. You may feel your heart race, your chest tighten, or your thoughts speed up. That is the signal that you are about to match their energy. In that moment, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself that you do not need to join their chaos. You can let their words or actions stay with them instead of bringing them into your own mind. That pause creates space for a better choice. Another way is to choose your environment carefully. Some people are always negative. They complain, criticize, or spread anger wherever they go. If you spend too much time with them, their energy will begin to affect you. Protecting your peace sometimes means limiting your exposure to negativity. It means surrounding yourself with people who uplift you instead of pulling you down. You cannot always avoid negative people, but you can decide how much of your energy you give them. You can decide whether to carry their energy or leave it with them. You can also practice using words that redirect instead of escalate. If someone speaks harshly, instead of replying in the same tone, you can say, "Let us talk about this calmly." If someone complains endlessly, you can say, "What can we do to fix this?" These simple responses shift the focus from negativity to solutions. They protect your peace because they stop the cycle of bad energy before it grows. They remind you and others that calm is always possible if someone chooses it first. Protecting your peace is not only for you. It also impacts the people around you. When you refuse to match negativity, you create a safe space for others. Your family feels it. Your friends feel it. Your co-workers feel it. They know that even when situations get tough, you will not add more chaos. You will bring calm. That consistency builds trust. People begin to look to you as the steady presence, the one who does not break under pressure. That is a powerful role to play in any group. Sometimes people will accuse you of being weak when you refuse to match their bad energy. They may say you are avoiding the fight. But remember, it takes far more strength to walk away than to lash out. Anyone can shout back. Anyone can fight fire with fire. But it takes real discipline to protect your peace. It takes courage to rise above negativity. And it takes wisdom to know that matching bad energy only drags you down to the same level you are trying to escape. Strength is not in the reaction. Strength is in the restraint. Every time you choose not to match negativity, you gain more confidence in yourself. You prove that you are not controlled by circumstances. You prove that you are not controlled by other people's moods. You prove that you decide who you are in every moment. That confidence grows over time and it becomes unshakable. Soon, no insult, no complaint, and no bad mood can pull you out of your peace. You carry your calm like a shield, and nothing outside can break it. This practice will also help you in achieving your goals. Success requires focus, and negativity is a major distraction. If you spend your time matching bad energy, you waste the energy you need for growth. But if you stay calm, you keep your focus on your goals. You stay productive instead of reactive. You stay moving forward instead of being pulled sideways. Protecting your peace is not just about feeling good. It is about keeping yourself on the path to progress. You can begin today. The next time someone brings negativity, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, will matching their energy help me or hurt me? The answer will always be clear. Then choose silence, calm, or a solution-focused response. With each choice, you grow stronger. With each choice, you protect your peace. With each choice, you prove that you are bigger than the negativity around you. And soon, protecting your peace becomes not just something you practice, but a way of life you carry everywhere you go. Chapter 10. Master yourself first, and the world cannot shake you. Life is full of challenges. People will test your patience. Circumstances will test your strength. Failures will test your belief in yourself. In these moments, most people look outside for control. They try to change other people. They try to bend situations to their will. They try to shape the world around them. But the truth is, the world is not yours to control. The only thing that belongs fully to you is yourself. Your mind, your attitude, your actions, and your choices. When you master yourself, no matter what the world throws at you, you remain steady. When you are steady inside, nothing on the outside can break you. Mastery of self begins with your emotions. Emotions are powerful, but without control, they can rule your life. Anger can ruin relationships. Fear can stop progress. Doubt can destroy dreams. If you allow every emotion to dictate your actions, you live like a leaf in the wind. You are pulled in every direction by whatever happens around you. But if you master your emotions, you live with intention. You feel anger but choose calm. You feel fear but still take action. You feel doubt but remind yourself of your strength. Mastery is not about avoiding emotions. It is about guiding them with wisdom. Another part of self-mastery is discipline. Discipline is doing what is necessary even when you do not feel like it. Most people let feelings control their actions. If they feel motivated, they act. If they feel tired, they quit. But discipline ignores the mood of the moment. Discipline says, I will follow through no matter how I feel. That habit builds strength over time. It builds confidence because you know you can count on yourself. The world becomes less frightening because you have proven that you are dependable in your own eyes. Mastering yourself also means controlling your words. Words have power. They can build trust or destroy it. They can create peace or spark conflict. If you let your tongue follow your impulses, you will leave behind regret. But if you master your words, you speak with impact. You choose when to be silent and when to be firm. You decide to encourage instead of criticize, to teach instead of insult, to lead instead of attack. That control gives you influence because people listen to those who speak with intention. Your habits are another area of mastery. Daily habits create your future. Small choices repeated every day shape your life in ways bigger than you realize. If you allow laziness, distraction, or comfort to rule your habits, your future will shrink. But if you master your routines, you grow stronger and more capable. Simple habits like reading, exercising, reflecting, or saving money may seem small, but over time they build a foundation of strength. Mastering your habits is mastering your destiny. Because what you do daily decides who you become permanently. Self-mastery also means mastering your reactions to others. The world is full of people who may try to pull you into negativity, gossip, or conflict. If you match their energy, you become just like them. But if you master yourself, you decide not to follow their path. You decide to protect your peace instead of proving your point. You decide to respond with patience instead of attack. This level of control makes you unshakable. Others lose their power over you because you refuse to give them your emotions. That is true freedom. There will always be situations you cannot control. Traffic will slow you down. Plans will fail. People will disappoint you. If your peace depends on perfect circumstances, you will always be unstable. But if you master your inner state, you remain calm, even in chaos. You understand that the world will not always be fair, but your response can always be wise. You understand that you may not choose what happens, but you always choose how to deal with it. That choice is the foundation of inner strength. Self-mastery also requires honesty. You cannot control yourself if you refuse to face your own weaknesses. You must be willing to admit when you lose patience, when you avoid responsibility, or when you let emotions control you. Honesty allows growth because you cannot improve what you will not face. Once you admit it, you can work on it. You can build new habits. You can develop better responses. You can practice calm, but it starts with the courage to be honest with yourself. Patience is another part of self-mastery. Mastery is not built in a day. It takes time, effort, and consistency. Many people give up because they expect instant results. But true mastery is the product of small improvements repeated over and over. Each time you pause instead of reacting, you are building mastery. Each time you stay disciplined when you want to quit, you are building mastery. Each time you choose calm words over angry ones, you are building mastery. Over time, these small victories accumulate until you become a person who cannot be easily shaken. Self-mastery is also about responsibility. You stop blaming others for your life. You stop waiting for circumstances to change. You stop waiting for someone else to save you. You take ownership of your actions, your choices, and your future. That responsibility is heavy, but it is also liberating. Because once you accept that you are responsible, you realize you also hold the power to change. You are no longer a victim of the world. You are the builder of your own life. That realization makes you unshakable. Another important part is mastering your focus. The world is full of distractions. Negative news, endless entertainment, and constant noise can steal your attention. If you let the world decide what you focus on, you will never build the life you want. But if you master your focus, you choose what deserves your attention. You direct your energy to growth, to goals, to peace. You learn to say no to what drains you and yes to what builds you. Focus is power, and mastery of focus makes you stronger than the distractions around you. Your body is also part of self-mastery. Without health, you cannot enjoy success. Without energy, you cannot pursue your goals. Mastery means taking care of your physical strength with good habits. It means exercising, eating well, and resting enough. It means treating your body as the tool that carries your dreams. If you neglect it, the world becomes harder to face. But if you master it, you face challenges with energy and confidence. A strong mind in a weak body cannot endure. Mastery requires balance between both. You must also master your perspective. Life will bring challenges to everyone. Some see those challenges as punishment. Others see them as training. The perspective you choose decides your strength. If you believe every obstacle is against you, you weaken yourself. But if you believe every obstacle is shaping you, you strengthen yourself. Mastery of perspective allows you to face setbacks with resilience. It allows you to keep moving forward when others quit. It allows you to turn pain into growth. That is one of the greatest forms of self-mastery. Mastering yourself also means mastering your time. Time is the most valuable resource you have, and once it is gone, you cannot get it back. If you waste it on meaningless arguments, pointless distractions, or negative people, you weaken yourself. But if you master your time, you invest it wisely. You spend it on growth, on meaningful work, on relationships that matter. You make each day count. That discipline creates strength because your life becomes focused and intentional. Mastering your time is mastering your future. The journey of self-mastery is not about perfection. You will still feel emotions. You will still face failures. You will still make mistakes. But mastery means you do not let those moments define you. You learn from them, you adjust, and you keep moving. Each mistake becomes a lesson. Each failure becomes a stepping stone. Each challenge becomes proof that you can endure. Over time, you become unshakable, not because the world stopped testing you, but because you stopped breaking under the tests. When you master yourself, the world loses its power to control you. No insult can define you. No delay can destroy you. No setback can stop you. You are steady in storms, calm in chaos, and patient in pain. People around you may wonder how you remain so strong, but you will know the answer. You will know that the secret is not in controlling the world. The secret is in mastering yourself. And once you achieve that, nothing outside can shake you, because the strongest force in your life lives within you.